Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's lesson, we are going to be looking into roof tiles. Let's get started. So what we can do is we can take one of the side elevations. For example, let's just take this one. Slowly explain to you exactly what's happening here. So right viewport. So we got the roof tiles here, which we can trace out. And plus, they are going to be resting on at least some sort of like a mortar layer. So there are two things that we need to model: the actual roof tiles themselves, as well as the mortar. So it runs all the way. And some roof tiles have coverings at the end, and some don't. So the rules apply the same. So what we can do is we can start off by tracing out first roof tile. As you can see, it's a little bit curved, so what we can do is we can just add, we can just trace out the whole thing as it is, like so. Oops. There we go. And don't have to worry about the underbelly, because it's not going to be that much visible anyway. So just make sure you just trace it out as closely as possible. Second thing we can do is we can just start copying this bit to all the other locations. We can delete these guys and we can just move these vertices around. So this one, this one is not going to be visible, so I'm not too much worried about size, but let's move these vertices as well. Here. Like so. And then what we can do is we can just literally start moving everything else around. Make sure it conforms to the shape properly. So I won't worry about the other bits. So let's just just keep on multiplying basically. There are other tools of doing that as well, which I'll touch in probably on my other useful tips videos. But for the time being, I want to show you how quickly you can actually make copies of it just by multiplying. So it multiplies that exponentially. Then what we can do, we can just move this one around here, and yeah, that's our side profile done. Next thing, again, the usual, extrude it out. So now we got our good looking tiles. Then we gotta just position them so that it's positioned on the edges according to the elevation. According to the elevation, it sort of like dips a little bit on the outside, but normally it's always, it's always flushed, these things. But then we can collapse the whole thing down, do the editable poly, and then just match it up. Yep, we're gonna do the same for this side as well. Go to the right viewport. Like so. Okay. First, let's just do the roof tiles throughout, and then we'll move forward to the mortar layer. 3dsmax is running a little bit sluggish, just because I have a lot of other instances of Max open as well. Here, I'm going to change the pivot point, as you can see here. this is gonna allow me to better control the angle. Then I can just literally do here. Zoom in if I want. It's actually 10 degrees. Okay. And then what we can do is we can just move the whole thing around like so to the edge. To the front viewport, what we can do is we can go into editor poly and just delete the ones that we don't necessarily need, like so, and then just move this one around here. Just move the vertices of this one slightly higher up, like so. Okay, that's better. Right, and then best way to make the cut is to use a good old slice modifier to the right viewport so that we know exactly what we're doing. So that's the front here. So we just gotta make a cut here. Need to be in its z-axis. Let's just push this away. Probably best to keep the gizmo in this location. There we go. And then just rotate it around like so. And then just remove the negative. There we go. Okay. Oops. Now let's just make it an instance. And then just place it here. So the reason we're making the instance is self-explanatory. So for example, if I make change to one of the tiles, it's gonna do the change on the other side as well, as we can see. So heads up. Right. Second thing is the canopy bit here. So we can just make a copy of this one as well. And for this one, we have to rely on the section drawing on the left side. So I'm just going to quickly do that here now. Just going to place it here. Because here there's a slight difference between the two. So let's just delete the ones that we don't need anymore. And just start moving the other ones around. As you can see here, this one's slightly bigger. I won't worry too much about it, as long as it conforms to the same shape. Let's just move these guys around. As you can see here, I'm switching between edges, vertices, polygons, so you can actually modify the geometry by using quite a lot of different methods. It's just all about flexibility and what works best for you, basically. Whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, so now we got the basic roof tiles in, but we are still missing the mortar layer. So it's not going to be evident right now, but if I move into the right viewport, I'll quickly show you what's happening. See that, the amount of gap? So the roof tiles are technically never going to be just floating around. So we got to ground them somehow. And that's where the mortar layer comes in. So what we can do is we can actually trace a spline like so. And then we can go into the spline edge, spline vertex level. Sorry, the spline sub-object level. And then we can do an outline. So that's gonna expand our spline. So the other thing we gotta just make sure is that we don't want it to be visible on the up axis, so that it doesn't crop away from the top. So once we've done that, we can just do an extrude on the whole thing again, and the same thing goes. We just gonna position it. Let's just convert it to editable poly. I'll show you really quickly what I mean by the whole thing just cutting out, basically. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly change my display mode to default shading. Because that's going to give me a better representation of what's going on. So here we can see, you know, the mortar layer is working fine, but on the edges, as you can remember, we only did change to one half of it. We need to change it. We need to apply the same change to the other half as well. So in order to quickly do that, well, the first thing we need to do is we need to change the pivot point to so that it's bang in the center along this line, and then just gonna apply the symmetry on it. So just keep a lookout. So as soon as I apply it, we don't want it on Z axis, we don't want it on Y, we want it on the X axis, and we need to flip it. That's it. Okay, that's how you solve that. The other bit you can do is probably just push it in slightly, just to put like a push modifier on it, and that's going to be more than enough. There we go. Okay, so that's just a push modifier. Is literally, as the name implies, it just pushes everything either inwards or outwards. So it's quite a quick way of managing certain changes. Let's do the same bit for the front as well. Just going to go to the front viewport, position my mortar layer here. I'm going to disable push, I'm going to disable symmetry, and now I am going to push these areas into the proper location. That's just fine. Just gotta flip it back. There we go. And just gotta put the push modifier on it as well. Okay. Now what you can do is you can actually collapse the whole thing down. Just start moving these things out here. So, and you can just do the same with this bit as well. There we go. Last but not least, you gotta do the same for the front canopy bit. So just quickly move to the left viewport here. Pull everything about. Delete this end bit because we don't need it anymore. And just push everything else down. This one is going to have a slightly lesser of a layer. So let's just position that. We don't even need this bit as well, but just for the sake of it, we'll just keep that in. Let's just push this down. So you just need a definition of, you know, that is resting on something. As you can see here, the pivot point is all the way on the other side, so we can just center it to the object to make sure everything's nice and clean and tidy. And then, yeah, it's just a matter of pushing everything along. Like so. Yeah, I'm just going to push everything back to the clay mode so that you get a better representation of what's happening. Right, so that's how you do the basic roof tiles. So if you have any questions, do leave them in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.